Shalom and hi, I'm Miaw. Usually on my channel, I react to metal, more specifically Christian metal, but this video is going to be different. And also, if I'm a bit more strange or like awkward in this video, it's because I can't see myself because I'm using my phone to film. My friend is borrowing my camera, my taco cat, so I'm using my phone and I'm using the back camera because the quality is better, so I'm hoping I'm in frame. So yesterday, which is 2nd July, is actually the first anniversary of my dad passing away. He passed away last year on 2nd July. And so yesterday was the first year anniversary. So this video is going to be centered around the passing of my father and how it impacted my life, because I've never really talked about it on this channel. I have mentioned it a few times. I mentioned it one time. Actually a few times. I don't know. But okay, I get into that. But yeah, I haven't really talked to anyone in my real life about this. I've only talked to like maybe 2 or 3 people. And even then, I don't think I can ever explain how deep it affected me, because okay, I'm just gonna get into it, I guess. Okay guys, I'm so sorry. I know the quality is worse, but I had to switch to the front camera because it's just unsettling. I just cannot be myself while worrying if I'm in frame. So yeah. So my parents actually of 2 different religions. My mom is a Christian and then my dad was a Sikh. So I ended up following my mom and I became Christian. And so for years actually I've been praying for my dad to be saved, and I've been praying like I used to cry. I've cried to sleep. I have cried about it, not just for my dad but also for some other people, but mostly for my dad. I remember I used to cry and be like, God, please save my father. And I prayed so much for him over the years, and just hoping that one day he will accept Christ. But I've never actually by myself went and like share about Jesus to him, you know, and about eternal life and about the gospel and all that. So that's what my burden has been for a few years. When I say burden, I mean burden. I used to cry so much about it. I used to worry so much about it, because you never know when someone is going to go. You never know when someone's going to die. And in this case, I never saw my dad die last year. And so if you don't know, I write songs. I love to write songs. I'm not like an artist or anything, okay? It's a hobby. And so I did write one song about it because, you know, it's something from the depths of my heart. It's something that impacts me so much. So of course I put it into song, right? I wrote that song and it's just about my pain about this. I teared up writing that song because it's just about my inner pain, about just worrying so much if my dad is gonna have eternal life after he dies, you know? And it's something I've told some people about, maybe like 2, 3 close friends, but I never really told a lot of people, not even my family. And I remember when I would go to camps and then they ask for like prayer requests, I sometimes would request for them just to pray for my dad, because like I don't really need anything, so just pray for my dad. I just want him to be safe. And so when he died last year, that was a shock, by the way. He was just suddenly gone, like just suddenly went into the hospital and then died. And by the way, the last time I saw my dad was 4 years ago, 18, 19, 20, 21, yeah, 4 years ago. So the last time I saw him was when I was 16, because my parents are divorced, right? And we live in 2 different states, so like maybe once a year me and my brother would go visit him. But in 2018, the one that I went, I was alone, and that was the last time that I spent time with my dad. And so after that, just was sad, call, you know, not really calling that often also. And then just last year he was gone. And he actually was in the hospital once. I think he went in twice. Like the first time, he was okay. Like he went in, I was worried. I was only praying like, please God save him. And then he got out, yay. And then shortly after that, he went in and he went back into the hospital and he was gone. So that really hit home how short life is, because I think we all know how short life is. We all talk about it. But it's things like this that really hit home how short life is, because I've had those moments before. Like in 2019, one of my close friends and dad passed away just like that. And the next year, actually, another classmate of mine that time, his dad passed away, and then the next is mine. And like, you know, like it feels weird, because then you realize how short life is, because like, I remember meeting my friends' fathers. I remember, and suddenly now they're just gone, you know. So yeah, this really just hit home. But anyway, that's not really the topic of this video. But to be honest, after my dad passed away, I started to get depressed. And it's something that I hid from my family. No one knew I was grieving. My mom and my brother didn't ask if I was okay, obviously. So my dad just passed away, so they didn't ask if I'm okay. I said, I'm good, I'm okay. No. And then no other family member ever asked if I was okay, but that's okay. Because, yeah, I mean, he was not part of the family for a long time already, so I didn't really expect them to be very affected by it. But yeah, basically I was starting to fall into depression, and I knew it. I was starting to feel all those things again, the darkness, the hopelessness, and just falling into it, starting to lose my appetite. I actually almost relapsed into my eating disorder because I just thought that I'm just gonna restrict, I'm just gonna not eat and just try to control this. But I convinced myself to get out of it. If you don't know, I used to have an eating disorder, and my dad's death almost caused a relapse, but I resisted it. I was like, that's not what we're gonna do. Remember how that got you, Miaw? That never healed anything. The eating disorder never helped you with anything. It just made things worse. So yeah, that's a different topic for a different video. But yeah, dude, I was messed up. I was a mess up. Like, I remember my blood pressure dropped. I never had a problem with blood pressure, I think. And actually dropped because, like, I think my family noticed that I was just kind of, I remember I started to get dizzy a lot. I was just really weak, you know. Sorry, excuse me. And then my brother, he's a medical student, so he like did a checkup, you know, I checked my blood pressure, whatever, and it was low. And actually I googled it, and apparently, if Google is correct, sadness can cause low blood pressure. Cool. It's just like, I guess people say also, like, if you're very angry all the time, you get high blood pressure. Which, by the way, I don't know if those things are necessarily true. I don't know. I'm not a scientist or anything or a doctor, but they could be. And if they are, I'm not surprised. And to be honest, like, it's kind of amazing how God's creation works. Like, there's a connection, really, really a connection between body and mind, you know. And the fact that I was feeling that way, and then my body also started to feel that way. And it was something that I kept to myself for a long time. Except those few friends who I just told. But yeah, I hid it from my family. It was just something, it was very hard, to be honest. Like, it would just come in the middle of the day. Like, I'd be having a good day, like, I forgot my dad passed away, and suddenly it would come to me, and then you just, like, I remember like a few times just try not to cry while washing the dishes when someone is next to me, or like sweeping the floor, and then suddenly I want to cry. And so the thing is, like, I knew that no one will get my pain, because I wasn't really grieving the physical death of my father. Yes, I was sad he was gone. I wish we had more time. But the main part of my grief was his spiritual death. I kid you not, that messed me up so much, because I couldn't save him, and I never shared the gospel with him. And that's the guilt that I cannot express. It followed me around for almost a year, actually. And so yeah, that's what's been following me around. And to be honest, like, when I have problems in life, I always talk to God about it. I'll legit just talk out loud and sometimes cry, you know, maybe listen to some hymns, abide with me. That's like my go-to when I'm in hard times. But in this instance, I never once really talked to God about it. I just kind of never did, because I could not bring myself to forgive myself, and I could not bring myself to face those feelings and face the truth, and just, I was just so scared that I would end up in a worse place. Because the thing is, like, one day after my dad passed away, I remember I got a self-harm thought. I was sweeping the floor, and I just suddenly got this very depressing thought, and I wanted to harm myself, I wanted to cut myself, and it was so scary. I've never had self-harm thoughts before. Yeah, my thoughts have never gone that dark, but in that day it did, in that moment, and it was so scary. It was like I got tunnel vision. That's how I can explain it. I got tunnel vision, and I was like, I have to cut myself later, to punish myself for never sharing the gospel with my dad, and that's why he's in hell. And yeah, and I remember, like, after that I snapped out of it, and I was like, I was terrified. I was so scared. I can't believe I just had a thought to cut myself. But yeah, it was just depressing, bro. I mean, I did pull myself out of that. I did not want to get super depressed, and that's why I just never confronted it. I just never talked to God about it, because I was so scared to face the feelings and face the true situation, and I was just so scared I'll get so depressed. And yeah, so I never once really talked to God about it, and like had a deep conversation, and yeah, asked for peace. I never once asked for peace about it, guys, because I could not bring myself to forgive myself. And so that's why I could never go to God for peace, because obviously I can't, because I can't forgive myself. How am I supposed to feel peace and ask for peace when I don't feel like I deserve the peace? So yeah, that's the inner torment that I had for a while. And it's just been, I maybe mentioned it in a few videos, maybe like one video. I remember one time I mentioned it in a reaction video, I forgot which reaction. And someone left a very nice comment saying, like, don't be too hard on yourself. I remember someone else said, like, pray for me, and that's just so heartwarming and so nice. But it just couldn't heal me. And I thought that I would never find healing from that. I just couldn't. And it's something that I cannot really tell people. Probably I can tell my close Christian friends, but at the same time, like, they say things like, go to God, you know, don't blame yourself. Like, I could not. So, and I remember also when he was just passing away, he just passed away, and then some of my friends said like, no, don't say he went to hell, you know, maybe he, you know, went to heaven, you never know. But one thing is that I know they mean well, like my friends are trying to comfort me from like thinking my dad went to hell. But one thing that I will never do is to change the gospel to make myself feel better, no matter how painful it is. Even though the intentions of my friends were good, and I appreciate that, but I just knew to myself like, there's a high chance he was not safe, because he wasn't safe, as far as I knew. So that's, I could not lie to myself, I could not lie about the gospel, so I just took it as, Miaw, you didn't share the gospel with your dad, now he's screwed, he's in hell forever. And that's the blame that I cannot really express to you. Because some of you are watching this might think I'm being dramatic, and that's why it's such a hard problem to describe to people, you know. And we'll get into that. So yeah, anyway, it's just whenever I thought about it, I would just usually just push it away, or I would cry about it. But I just never really paid it too much attention, and I just kind of pushed it away. I knew it would catch up to me someday, which it did, by the way. We'll get to that. But for a long time, I just never really talked to God about it, and never really approached it and stuff like that. Then earlier this year, that's when I started to get suicidal thoughts. So I was not depressed, I was okay, but I would just suddenly get impulse. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if is this a thing? Like, can you not be depressed but get impulse suicidal thoughts? Like, they would just come out of nowhere. It was just like, suddenly I just want to go and kill myself. Or like, suddenly I have the thought of going to kill myself. But I knew that I would never actually do it, so like, I didn't know if it was valid. And actually, like, I think this is random, but the YouTuber D'Angelo Wallace, he like recently uploaded a video and he mentioned a similar thing, and I was like, yes. Like, that feeling of knowing, like feeling you want to kill yourself or harm yourself, but you know that you wouldn't actually do it, and so you feel like it's not valid. But anyway, so yeah, that was kind of scary. Like, now I can't believe we're having suicidal thoughts now. Like, I knew there was something wrong. And also, like, because it wasn't just my dad. Like, yeah, I carried around the blame of my dad for so long, and it was to the point that it even branched out to like other people. Like, I started to think of, it was overwhelming. Like, when I would start to think of like my friends who are not safe, all the people who I know and love who are not safe, it would just overwhelm me so much. And thinking like, how am I gonna save all of them? What if I never get to save all of them? And if they're not safe, it's my fault. That was always the thing that followed me. It was always like my fault, because I didn't share the gospel with my dad before he died, so it's my fault he went to hell. And if I don't share the gospel with my friends before they die, it's gonna be my fault they go to hell. And it just became too much sometimes, and it just got so overwhelming. And that's when I, started to develop suicidal thoughts. But they were not often. They only happened like 3 times, I think, which is still too much, okay? There's no such thing as... Okay, if you're having suicidal thoughts, period, go get help, okay? So, but yeah, they happened like 3 times, I think, earlier this year, but never, grew into anything too big. Suicidal thoughts is a big thing, I know. But for me, it just didn't feel like I should do anything yet. And the thing is also, like, last time when my dad was still alive and I was still praying for him, I did ask God, like, I was scared because I was praying for my dad's salvation. It's okay. It's okay, I'm going. Okay, I hope no one finds it weird that I'm filming here. We had to move because someone came into the room. She's also the same person who came into the room the other day when I was filming a different video with Metal777. And then she came in and she was like, do you mind if I sit here? And then like she was like, are you the one from the other day? And I was like, yes. And then I switched off the camera. I wish I didn't, because it was kind of wholesome. She was just like, what's your name? And I was like, Miaw. And she was like, her name was Putri. And then I just got up. I said I was done. I'm not. How dare you come into my space? Now I gotta move here. I'm kidding. So last time when I used to pray, I used to be so scared that what if I'm the one meant to spread the gospel to my father, but I'm too scared. So I used to pray like, God, please save him. But I also used to say to God, like, what if I'm the one who's meant to do it and I don't do it? And that's what used to scare me so much. What if I'm the one meant to do it and I don't do it? And then it confirmed not my fault if he goes to hell, you know? Anyway, he passed away, and that's just what's been following me around, like. And just recently those suicidal thoughts came back, but they came back stronger. And I mean, like, I was to the point where I was about to write a suicidal note. I was kind of writing down already, like, my suicidal thoughts on like a piece of paper, and then like my roommate came in. I still have that letter. I mean, it's not really a letter, it was just something that, yeah, it was kind of like a letter. It was like something someone would find in case I went. I remember I was standing at the railing looking down, and I was just crying because, like, I can't believe I want to do this, you know. It got so scary because I never thought that I would get to a place where I was suicidal. Because like I said, it just got so overwhelming. I was like, Miaw, you couldn't save your dad. How are you gonna save your friends? They're all gonna go to hell because of you. And I know it sounds so, like, so much like, Miaw, why are you so dramatic, you know? I'm sure other Christians don't struggle with, and that's why I feel so alone. It's like, who am I gonna tell this to? I mean, yeah, I told my friends, but I cannot get help. I remember I was gonna call the befrienders one time, and I was this close to doing it, but then also, like, what would I say? I can't go to my university's counselor because they're most likely Muslim, and there's no one who I know who I can tell this to and can help me. So I actually Google, like, medication for suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, because I don't know what to do. Like, what am I supposed to? I don't want to die. I was so scared, guys. I did not want to die. But it was just that I couldn't understand. Yeah, I wasn't depressed and I did not want to die, but these suicidal thoughts would just come. No one would understand how I feel. You know, people say, like, you can tell anyone anything. Like, you can go to a therapist and tell them anything. Yeah, but what about me? This is such a problem that is like blaming myself for being the reason my dad went to hell. Like, who's gonna listen to that? I just didn't know what to do. I honestly thought I would never find a way. I started to, like, even look at my friends who are not safe, especially like my very close friends, and that would trigger it, like, just looking at them. The blame was just starting to catch up on me, you know, all this guilt, all this blame I've been carrying around all this time just started to catch up on me, and I knew it would one day, but I didn't know it would lead to suicidal thoughts. I just thought, like, it would be nice to be one of my friends whose parents were both Christian. They never had to worry about this. They don't have to. And the thing is, like, I know those thoughts are not from God, guys. I know they are not. I know they're from the devil. God does not want me to kill myself. God does not want me to blame myself. But in those moments, yes, I fight against the suicidal thoughts, but I did not fight against those thoughts that were in my head that were like blaming myself. I did not fight against those because I agreed with them. Basically, they had a hold on me. Like, yeah, I'm the fault. It's my fault, and I'm the reason my friends are gonna go to hell. I'm the reason my dad is gonna go to hell. It all sounds so morbid. I feel stupid telling this to a camera, but I really hope you don't find me stupid. This is a legit thing that I dealt with. I've dealt with the blame of not saving my father for almost 1 year. And then one day, this was very recently, my university had this, like, club exhibition, whatever, I don't know how to explain it, but like, if the different clubs and societies, they set up a booth and like encourage people to join the club, you know, new members. And then so me and my friends wanted to go. We went somewhere first, I think, and then after that we wanted to go to the club, and I had to go early, so like they were still in the car talking, and then I left. And then after that, okay, basically while they were at the, like, carnival exhibition, whatever, right, the fair, I was somewhere else because I was thinking about going there, but then I thought, like, I feel like I need some time alone right now. And that was such a good decision. I'm gonna take this off, it's too hot. So I ended up sitting. Wait, this is so loud. Everyone can hear my thoughts. So I ended up sitting at this stairs near this, like, parking lot. This is where everything changed. At this stairs. I forgot the date, but it was like last week, I think. So I was sitting there with my thoughts and I started to sing. Just randomly this hymn came to my head, "It is well with my soul." So I started to sing that. Whatever my Lord Thou hast taught me to say. And at the second verse, I started to tear up. And after that, I started to sing "Abide with Me." When other helpers fail and comforts flee. Just crying, just me alone at that stairs, no one around. I mean, there were some cars that were passing by, and we'll get to the cars in a second. But there were two cars that passed by, I remember, and I thought that they went that side, but we'll get to them. And for some reason, the song still came into my head. You know the song, right? When the oceans rise, and and I haven't sing the song in a while, like in a few years, because we used to sing that in like praise and worship at like church or Sunday school or like Girls Brigade, right? I never sang that in a while, and it never came to my head, you know. But suddenly in that moment, it came to my head, and this has to be a God thing, because this is what changed everything. So that song came to my head, and I was just singing it, like, hide me now under your wings, you know. And then during the chorus, the last line of the chorus, I will be still and know you are God. That's when I stopped. I was like, I will be still. And I couldn't bring myself to sing it, because in that moment I realized that I've never been still. I'd been looking at the situation around me and looking and thinking about death and hell and just, what's this insect here, and blaming myself. But I never was still. I never took a moment to just be still and know that He is God. And dude, that broke me. I started to cry when I realized that, and I was like, God, I've never been still. In all these months, I've never been still and know that you are God. Dude, I cried. I cried on that stairs. And in that moment, I was like, God, for the first time ever, I was like, God, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna get myself out of this. I'm gonna do something. And I trust you now. So in that moment, I decided that I was gonna go look for the church, because my brother said that my dad had stayed with the church before he died, which I was always very curious about. And I had wanted to reach out to them before this, but I just couldn't bring myself to, never really got to it. But in the moment, I was like, okay, I'm ready to know the truth now, because the thing is, like, if I reach out to the church and ask them about my dad, and if he was saved, and if, you know, he heard the gospel before he died, because he stayed with the church right before he died. And the reason why he stayed with the church is actually because he was in a hospital in the area and he needed someone to look after him, so he contacted the church. And so I was ready to just contact them, because, and the reason, part of the reason why I never did before this is because I was scared of the answer. Like, what if I ask them about it and they say he was not saved? What's that gonna do for me? But in that moment on the stairs, I was like, I'm gonna do this. And then I look and I realized that the two cars, because there were some cars that had been passing by, but I didn't realize that two of those cars didn't pass by and go somewhere. They legit passed by and parked at the parking lot. Two of them, they were not very near to me, so that's why I didn't see it. They were quite far away. But from where they were, and I realized, I was like, wait, they've been sitting there the whole time and saw me cry. Okay, I don't know if they could see me cry, but they could definitely see someone on the stairs, and I was like, you know, whatever, right? And they can probably see me like talking to myself and talking to God and like singing, you know. Then there was this guy who came from this side. The cars were this side, somewhere there. And then there was this guy who came from this side, and he was going to the car. I guess it was like his friends, I don't know. He came and then he looked at me and he smiled. He was so friendly. He said hello, and I was like, hello, good afternoon. He was like, good afternoon. And then he went to the car, and I thought that was the last of it. But then he came back. He started to like jog back to me, and he jogged up the stairs to me, and he said, can we swap Instagram? And I was like, why? Because I don't just give my Instagram to anyone. And he said like, hey, just want to be friends. And then, but I didn't want to, so I just said no, because he said, it's okay if you don't want to. And I was like, yeah, it's okay, I don't want. And I was like, oh, it's okay. And then when he was going down the stairs, I said, what's your name? And he said his name is Rauf, and I told him my name. And then he went, and I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he went, strong part of me, for some reason, just some part of me thinks that he went to the car, and maybe his friends in the car told him about me, that they saw me crying, and that's why he came back to like want to be my friend and whatever. I'll never know what that was, but that cheered me up. He was such a nice guy. And yeah, thank you, Rauf, wherever you are. You're somewhere in this university. I just don't know if we'll meet again. But anyway, the next day, or was it that day, I don't know, I did contact the church, and they put me in contact with the exact person who looked after my dad before he died. And so I asked him about it, and he got back to me that night, like around early in the morning kind of thing, like 1 AM, 2 AM, I got the message. And I was like lying down in my bed, and I sat up, because this was the message. dude. It was like 3 a.m. I still remember. It was 3 a.m. I cried. And I went out of the room. My roommate was sleeping. I went out of the room, went to the stairs. That stairs actually. And I just cried. And I said, thank you. I'm free. Because I was free. I was free. I was free from all that guilt, all that shame, all that blame I put on myself. I was free because he was saved. And so yes, I'm not suicidal anymore. I'm okay now. And you know, this really, ever since this happened, okay, I've always believed in the power of prayer. I've always believed in prayer. But this really showed me the power of prayer. The power of praying for my dad all these years and not stopping. The power of like really having my heart feel so heavy when I pray about it. And the fact that I prayed about it and I was so scared that I wouldn't be able to share the gospel with him. And it turns out I wasn't the one meant to share the gospel with him. I haven't got the full story yet. I'm still yet to like get the details of what happened and all that. We haven't really got into contact and like with all the details. But I wasn't the one meant to spread the gospel to him. I just wasn't. It was someone else. And they did. And so now, like, my view on this has just shifted so much. Like, yes, I will pray for my friends for their salvation, but I don't get depressed over it. And if I'm not the one meant to spread it to them, maybe someone else is. So yeah, that night after I got the news, before I slept, I was just crying and praying, and I said, God, please say hi to Daddy for me. Because all this time I thought that I would never see him again. I thought that he was screaming. I thought that he was suffering every day, forever and ever. And I thought that we would never see each other again. And now knowing that I will, I never really had that much of a relationship with my dad ever since my parents divorced. So knowing that one day I can see him again and things will be okay and maybe it will be close again. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope it wasn't too long. Sorry also if it's very quiet because I don't want to talk too loud here. Yeah, thank you so much for watching and listening to my story, testimony, whatever is this. Like, this was a miracle. This is amazing. And this really, guys, I've always believed in prayer. Like I said, and there's this song called Doa Mengubah Segala Sesuatu, which I love. And now I really believe in the song. The prayer can really change something of everything. And if you don't give up, and if you do believe and you have faith in something you cannot see, it does wonders. But don't stop praying for your loved ones who are not saved. Don't stop praying for your friends. But don't blame yourself over it. Have faith and live a life that's like Christ. So that hopefully one day they will see Christ in you. Or maybe it's not. Maybe they'll see it in someone else. You never know. This is something that I'll never forget. I remember telling God, like, you didn't just save my dad, you saved me. Because even if I didn't kill myself, I would have just already killed myself on the inside. All this unforgiveness, all this pain, it's already like, that's not life. How am I gonna live like that with all that unforgiveness inside me? So when I found out my dad was saved, I was saved too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless your day, your week, your month, your year, your life. God bless you and your families. And don't forget, the Lord Jesus Christ loves you very much. One last thing. I'm so happy.